if you're looking to visit this stadium, they got to figure it out here.
It's more than a buzz at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's electric. Here comes the tie.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Kangaroo Black coming back once again. It's playoff football this weekend. Two great games coming up. Ohio State versus Georgia. TCU versus Michigan. And I'm going to talk about this Ohio State versus Georgia game, which will be played at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, December 31st. In Atlanta, I believe. But anyway, if you look at these two teams, statistically, they are a mirror image of each other. Splitting image, all right? So if you're one of those fans who like to predict your score or go off the stats, this will be a hard game for you to predict, all right? But the eye test tells me that Georgia is a better team than Ohio State. But that's neither here nor there. But let's look at these offensive stats, which Georgia averages 491 yards a game. Ohio State averages 492 yards a game. Rushing, Georgia averages about 9 more yards than Ohio State. So it's not much. It's not much. Passing, Ohio State averages 10 more yards than Georgia do. So pretty much even offensively. But I think Georgia might have a couple of more offensive weapons than Ohio State do. All right. Defensively, Georgia gives up 292 yards a game. Ohio State gives up 303 yards a game. A difference of 11 yards. That is not much. Not much. For as our Russian defense, Georgia gives up about 42 yards less than Ohio State does. Georgia only gives up 77 yards per game on defense. That is crazy. Georgia hold their opponents to 3.8 yards or 3.8 points in the fourth quarter. So throughout the season, 13 games, they done held their opponent to 3.8 points in the third quarter. That is crazy. Less than 3 yards per carry throughout the season. That's every game. They done held those opponents to less than 3 yards a carry. That's crazy. Matter of fact, 2.94 yards is what their opponents' running backs are averaging. This defense is crazy. This defense is crazy. And guess what? Georgia has only one game this season where they didn't win by double digits. Out of 13 games, 12 of them, they won by double digits. The only one was to Missouri when they came out in the first half, had a sloppy start, slow, whatever. But the second half, they held Missouri to only 2 field goals in the second half. And they came back and won the game. All right. So we can say what you want to say about these Georgia Bulldogs, Stetson Bennett, how they run their offense. It is what it is. We said, last year when they lost all these defensive players to the draft, that they just wasn't going to be the same. Seemed like the defense is better this year than last year. Because I believe at the end of last year, they was giving up right at 100 yards per game rushing. And this season, they're only giving up 77. So, seems like they better than me. See, that's just my opinion. I don't know. But if you go back and look at those defensive stats from last year, I can guarantee you they was giving up more than 77 yards. Because I perfectly remember, I think they was giving up like 98 point something yards per game on the ground at the end of the season. All right. But anyway, like I say, this is why the eye test tells me that Georgia is the better team. But, Both teams got some weapons, man. C.J. Stroud for Ohio State. Great quarterback, was a Heisman Trophy candidate, just as well as Stetson Bennett was a Heisman Trophy candidate. Some of us didn't think he would be there or didn't deserve to be there, and I'm one of them. But guess what? The thing about Stetson Bennett, all he does is win. This guy, since being a starter, has only got one loss on his resume. And we all know that's to my Alabama Crimson Tide. But the fact of the matter is, Stetson Bennett is a proven winner. And Stetson Bennett has proven time and time again he can step up in the biggest games. So you can't take nothing away from the guy. So C.J. Stroud, he came out and said that they're going to have to let him go. And that's what it's going to take to win this game. Because I think Michigan's running game is a no-go, which I know it's a no-go. That just ain't going to happen against these Georgia Bulldogs, all right? C.J. Stroud, they're going to have to let him air this ball out. Now, C.J. Stroud got two prolific receivers. Marvin Harrison Jr., who got 1,157 yards receiving. I'll just put it like this. So he's over 1,100 yards receiving with 12 touchdowns. So he's doing his thing. Igbuka, he's got over 1,000 yards receiving with 11 touchdowns. So those are the two main receivers, the two go-to guys that C.J. Stroud have, and I'm quite sure he's going to use the hell out of them. I'm quite sure of that. You also got Julian Fleming with 462 yards and 6 touchdowns. Cade Stover 399 yards and 5 touchdowns. So it's going to be all right. Also, running back Myron Williams. He's got 13 touchdowns on the season. All right. He was hurt this season. He rolled his ankle against Indiana. He said he wasn't 100% against Michigan. But he said he's healthy for this game. But I don't think he's going to be able to run on this Georgia defense. Then you got Travion Henderson with 7 touchdowns on the ground. He got 571 yards. But I just don't think it'll be able to get done. And then, matter of fact, Travion Henderson, he's hurt. He won't even be in the game. He's done for the season. So it's going to be tough sledding. You got Dalen Hayden. He's got 510 yards on the season and 5 touchdowns. But shit, man, against this Georgia defense, it's going to be rough. I'm telling you. Sorry, Ohio State. Well, you're going to have to put it in the hands of C.J. Stroud and hopefully make some throws and hopefully can expose this Georgia secondary, which they have been exposed from time to time. So hopefully these two great wide receivers, maybe they can do that. We'll see. But you know Kirby Smart, he going to have that defense ready. But anyway, and I think Georgia front seven going to have to get some pressure on C.J. Stroud. You know C.J. Stroud, he can run the ball too, so it is what it is. Matter of fact, no, he don't got none. But anyway, as far as the defensively, both these teams can cause turnovers and get sacks. Matter of fact, Ohio State got 30 sacks on the season. Georgia got 26. Okay? Interceptions. Both teams have 10 interceptions on the season. Ohio State got 10 forced fumbles. They done recovered 7 of them. Georgia got 7 forced fumbles. They done recovered 6 of them. So they can cause turnovers, man. Ohio State got a total of 17 turnovers, and Georgia got 16. Like I said, it ain't much difference between these two teams. Now, Georgia got some studs too. We all know, offensively and defensively. I told you, Stetson Bennett don't do nothing but win. He can throw it. He can run it. He done threw 20 touchdowns, and he done ran for 7. So he can do it both ways. Even though most of them are short touchdowns, hey, he can get it in the end zone. Then you got Kenny McIntosh, a running back who is an extension to the passing game. He's got, 10 touchdowns rushing and 1 in the receiving game, but he got 450 yards receiving as a running back. So what that tell you? He can do it either way. All right. Then you got DeJuan Edwards, 683 yards and 7 touchdowns. Kendall Milton, 531 yards and 6 touchdowns. Then you got Branson Robinson bringing up the rear with 288 yards and a touchdown. All 4 of those guys are great running backs. Now, if you ask me, Branson Robinson is the best out of all of them, from what I've seen. As far as running the ball, I don't know how he is out the backfield with catching, but I know he can run that ball, and he will run over some people. So we'll see. But all those guys, I like the way you playing 4 running backs consistently. I love that. Everybody getting the experience. That's why when one go down, the other one is ready. Or when one leave, the next one just step in. Nick Saban, you can take some notes from that. Should have you used to do it. What damn happened? But anyway, Ladd McConkey, receiver, 7 touchdowns. He's got 120 yards rushing and 675 yards through the air. Then you got Brock Bowers. We all know what he can do. He's a stud tight end. 9 touchdowns, 726 yards receiving, 93 yards rushing. And they also use, like I say, 93 yards rushing. They do use him in the run game on this jet sweep. So, and that guy's hard to stop. But you got some guys now. You can't forget about Dominique Blaylock. You can't forget about Darnell Washington, which I think they need to use him more, man. I really do. I think they need to use him more. But they got some guys, man. I don't know about, Adonai Mitchell. I don't know if he'll play in this game. So I don't know the seriousness of his injury or whatever. Then Arian Smith, don't know if he'll play. Don't know the seriousness of his injury. Eric Gilbert, he done transferred. He really didn't contribute to the team much in a daggone way. So it is what it is. Defensively, you got to block Jalen Carter. And that's going to be hard to do. So you might just have to double that man. I don't know. You're going to have to do something. Then you got Nolan Smith coming around the edge. All right? So you got Robert Beal. They rotate. You got Robert Beal, man. Then you got Caleb Ringo and the other guy, what's his name? Malachi Starks. Caleb Ringo and Malachi Starks. You got them in the secondary. I think Caleb Ringo can be had. So I think they're going to go after Caleb Ringo. Plain and simple. They can't give C.J. Stroud a lot of time in the pocket. Somebody going to get open. So I think they're going to go after Caleb Ringo. So, but Georgia, they do got some studs on defense, as I have mentioned. Ohio State won't be able to run the ball. Their best bet is to throw it and try to expose this secondary. If they can do that, they possibly could win this game. But if they can't do that, it's going to be hard and tough sledding for those Ohio State Buckeyes. But anyway, with that being said, I got Georgia winning this game. I most certainly do. And I got my score wrote down. Where is that? Somewhere on here. But I got Georgia winning this game. And I got Georgia winning this game. I had it wrote down somewhere, so I'm going to have to remember this. All right? So I got Georgia 38. Ohio State 27. That's my final score. And I'm sticking with it. Georgia 38. Ohio State 27. All right? So, talk to y'all later. And roll damn tide.